is MC Lars. Today I'm going to talk about hip-hop as a sphere of influence. And I know a lot of you are probably looking at me thinking, what can this nerdy white guy teach me about hip-hop, right? Let's admit it, that's what we're wondering. Let me give you a little bit of background. I studied literature at Stanford, and when I was... I know we're at USC, but I went to Oxford to study Shakespeare, and over there I started writing these silly rap songs where I took Shakespeare's stories and I made beats on my laptop and I'd rap them, and I convinced all these punk and indie bands to let me open for them. And that somehow led to a career where I've been making hip-hop professionally, touring for the past 6 years. And so when I told my parents I wanted to be a full-time rapper, they were a little shocked and surprised. But I've opened for Snoop Dogg, I've opened for Nas, I collaborated with KRS-One, and when I wake up every day, I have to pinch myself because it's so weird that I get to rap for a living. So we're going to talk a little bit about how hip-hop and Shakespeare are related. Now, a few weeks ago at Coachella, Tupac was brought back as a hologram. Give it up for hologram Tupac. This was a really exciting moment because hip-hop is a culture based on remixing the past. Another person who was famous for remixing the past is this guy, William Shakespeare. He would take old stories and recreate them for the popular culture of Elizabethan England. One of his most famous plays, Hamlet, written in 1600, was actually based on an old Danish play called Amlet from 1185. And when we look at Hamlet, we can see three elements of Shakespearean tragedy that apply to other cultures outside of hip-hop, such as in the feud between Biggie and Tupac. We have three elements of what makes a Shakespearean tragedy. We have a hero of high standing, a tragic flaw, and a series of unfortunate events. In the case of Tupac and Biggie, Tupac had sold millions of records. He was holding it down for the West Coast in the 90s, and he got a lot of love, and he was really, really popular. His tragic flaw was his anger. His song Hit 'Em Up is just this vitriolic rant against Biggie and his whole crew that kind of led to a lot of bad animosity. And the third element in the Shakespearean tragedy is unfortunate events. In the story of Biggie and Tupac, the media and the record labels really helped fuel the East Coast, West Coast feud. And it ended in the tragic death of these two talented musicians in their 20s. So it's really lame, to put it lightly, very lame. Another example of Shakespearean tragedy, Macbeth. So if we take the archetype of the three elements of Shakespearean tragedy, we have a hero of high standing, Macbeth, who was a general in the army, a tragic flaw. Macbeth's tragic flaw was his ambition. He never was satisfied. He always wanted to have more. It wasn't enough that he became the Glen of Thomas or whatever. He kept wanting to get more and more recognition. And so the unfortunate event in Macbeth is the interference of the supernatural. He's coming home from battle. He runs into these three witches who give him this twisted prophecy that ends in him ruining his whole life. And when we look at the meter of Macbeth, something that really struck me as a kid, when I was 16 in high school, I never really fit in. I kind of couldn't relate to people. It was, I couldn't relate to girls. I couldn't play sports. I wasn't up on popular culture. So I spent a lot of time by myself on the weekends making music, making beats by myself. So when I was reading Macbeth, I noticed the chant of the witches kind of fit a drum pattern that I'd built on reason. So if we look at the chant of the witches, double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. The cadence of that fits the typical rhythm of a house beat. And I want to demonstrate that for you guys. This is a form called trochaic tetrameter. And we're going to see how it fits over the beat. So check it out. Imagine Macbeth is coming home, and he sees these witches around a cauldron, and they have something dark to tell him. That's the context for this rap. Here we go. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Fair is foul, foul is fair. We must warn you, Macbeth, beware. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Fair is foul, foul is fair. We must warn you, Macbeth, beware. Hip-hop and Shakespeare, best friends. Thank you. So it fits. And if we want to understand hip-hop as a cultural form, we need to take it back to the 70s. This man is Clive Campbell, aka DJ Kool Herc, the godfather of hip-hop. He grew up in Jamaica. He came to the Bronx in November of 1967, and he'd heard a lot of loud sound systems